Hi, everybody. Oh, on 59, 2059 days since Richard was forcibly removed from his barracks room there on Fort Bliss because he was a whistleblower. It was an organized attack. They forcibly removed him from his room, took him down to the basement room, to a soundproof room, where they took his life. They took his life and he fought like hell. We have which, how do you respond to that? Because we have evidence that indicates that one of the perpetrators had to have emergency dental surgery um, because of this, and Richard's body was taken off of Fort Bliss, stolen off of Fort Bliss, and trafficked to Mexico, where we believe that they harvested organs. Evidence indicates that, and that his partial remains were then disposed of at Plenitude Crematorium. The owners live in El Paso. This is a transnational criminal organization, which Tulsi Gabbard was speaking about just recently in her congressional hearing. So, and that covers it better than the FTO, this transnational criminal organization. The whole funeral home fraud there is a transnational criminal organization, um, and so many other that involve the trafficking and then industries that I think that's why this whole thing with Cesar Chavez, why that's becoming a big deal. I'm still investigating that and I will answer that shortly. Let's see if I'm on and everything is working. Let's see. There. Okay. So we are at 2059 days. And so oh my God, every day, we've been doing this for 5.5 years, over 5.5 years. And we have breaking news every day, right? Every day it's breaking news. And our investigation is really epic. Epic. There's no other way to describe it. And that's why our lawsuits are going to be epic. And we want to make that very clear because they are. Because they are. And we've been right all along. This involves the El Paso Mormon faction, cartel, philanthropists. So what we have and the control over that border area and all the criminal trafficking that entails. So what we have accomplished is just only can be explained by God's hand on all of this, and His hand has been on all of this, and also with a lot of help from President Trump, because President Trump was attacked by this very group in many, many different ways. He was targeted and attacked by this group. Um, and our investigation has absolutely confirmed that over and over and over again. Yet, the all the podcasters, I don't hear them mention this El Paso Mormon faction cartel. They are, pointing um, to this little country, Israel. That's what they're pointing to, like all the problems are there, not to the infiltration within our own country of this Mormon faction cartel philanthropists that are very involved in controlling the border and businesses, and also the transnational criminal organizations. So, yeah, so here we are. We are bringing that to the attention of the people. And of course, it's right over the target. So you see a lot of flack, a lot of, that's why we received from the very beginning of this uh, a lot of flack because we were not going with the narrative and they were trying to protect this this transnational criminal organization. And so they were trying to silence us. They were trying to intimidate us. They were trying to block Richard's case in every way. And they have failed. They absolutely have failed. In the last few days really show how they have failed. Um, when President Trump won this second time, he had learned his lesson from a lot of lessons from the first time. You can't totally know everything, right? But he absolutely became not a rookie president, but an experienced president. There's a big difference. He was the hunted, and now he's become the hunter. He's made that very, very clear. And so there was many things that he did right off the bat that tell you that he was laying down the foundation for accountability, accountability to expose and dismantle the deep state, the Mormon faction, the El Paso Mormon faction cartel in alliance with the Mexican cartels and the Iranian and Chinese factions that were involved in this trafficking pipeline that, for a long time it was controlled or managed by Jeffrey Epstein with the money laundering that went with it. And I believe that the evidence makes indicates and makes it very suspicious that Beto O'Rourke's a family property that was adjacent to Zorro Ranch, is also suspect in all of this, especially since La Diabla, the organ harvester, baby harvester, was family was employed by Beto O'Rourke. So that really. Um, Thank you for coming on. Thank you. We can hear you. Good. Thank you so much. So that I'm looking at the messages. So that is, i- jaw dropping when you think of a presidential candidate, um, being suspected of this level of crime against our country, against our military, against the community. It really is. And being so close to Santa Fe, and being so close then to the Chicago group, because Bill Sanders, who owns that ranch, his family ranch, Beto O'Rourke's family ranch, adjacent to Zorro Ranch, is from Chicago. And of course, the Obamas, and I know that uh, uh, Oprah, Oprah is also from Chicago. Uh, really fancied Santa Fe, which was just a hop, skip, and a jump away from both Zorro Ranch and the Sanders Ranch, which is Beto O'Rourke's family, and also from Cesar Duarte's ranch, which is very important in all of this because he's married to the Fong, right? The Fong from, you know, uh, that has also, because of his house being raided again and seized, that the family is being investigated. Um, that is huge news because it's not just him that's in prison. His own family is being investigated. So, and our evidence absolutely shows that they need to be investigated. He has like tons and tons of way. I want to say like 2 dozen properties um, in the United States, and so does Carlos Manuel Salas has a property in the United States, and that's illegal for him since he's a prosecutor for the North Zone of Chihuahua, Mexico. It's just really they just don't think that the laws apply to them at all, and then you see this huge criminal trafficking that involves a lot of compromised officials. A lot, it's like the government itself is the cartel, right? Is the enemy, the ones that are causing all the trouble, and they're doing it on the taxpayer dime. But that's what, they're using our government and our system to run their evil transnational criminal organization. So, and we have more proof of that because in our and then that has caused a lot of infiltration because this playbook was, um, presented, and more people then got into the government in order to run um, transnational criminal organizations or join it, right? Join it because it was always like turf wars and everything with the different cartels in alliance with the El Paso Mormon faction cartel. That was exactly what I'm describing today, using our military, using um, politicians, using taxpayer money to make themselves wealthy. And I was just watching some reports about Arizona. The same thing was going on in Arizona, and talking about Jake Hoffman, right? Jake Hoffman and um, everything, because it's all very connected with Fort Huachuca and Fort Bliss, and then Arizona and El Paso. You know, that whole area. There's just so many similarities. Like Jake Hoffman, when you look at him, it's like, oh my gosh, is he like the son of Alexander Gerhard Hofmann wrote the victim in the Walmart mass shooting case, right? That was laying there. Because they look so much alike. They look like they could be brothers or father and son. He looks like, I mean, we need to run his face through the measurement tool, right? The facial recognition, um, mathematic measurement of every little thing to see if they match really close because they look so much. They're a double ganger. They are a double ganger, and and he's been caught in a lot of very suspicious activity, very suspicious activity around the whole TPUSA. But back to our case in El Paso and Richard's case, where he's reporting on the criminal trafficking, the worst type of crimes against children, and um, on the basis involvement in the Walmart mass shooting. Now, that is so far reaching, right? When you're reporting on the basis involvement ties to the uh, Walmart mass shooting case, uh, that is far reaching. And that's why we believe that's why they decided to take Richard's life, was because of that. Because what that did was not just unravel the Walmart case, but unravel the El Paso Mormon faction cartel philanthropists hold on the border, and all they were in. It was just like unraveling the whole thing. Um, and so when we say Richard was reporting on this and this, or what Richard was reporting on, or what Richard was exposing, he's the key to everything, y'all. He is the key to everything. So you're gonna find that he exposed everything. He exposed everything. And that's why they went to such length and such cost, such length, such panic to cover this up, um, and to block it. And you saw, um, their criminality and their desperation, um, with this new scandal of Veronica Escobar and Beto O'Rourke. He worked for Beto O'Rourke first, Benito Torres did, and then he moved over to the office of Veronica Escobar, the representative, the congresswoman that can't be trusted. He moved over to her. And Benito Torres, um, was a command sergeant. He was a sergeant major in the army and had retired in 2016, I believe, and started working for Beto O'Rourke. Did he know Justin Underwood's wife? Did he know Martha Mendez's family that was working for Beto O'Rourke? Did he know Danae Katzen? You know, these are conflicts and also, did he work with those that were in the military, like Jonathan Ambrose? Uh, and other like Michael Ruggiero, Jay Paulin, and anyone else that was in the chain of command, maybe even General Garrett was, General Garrett working with him, or Lieutenant General Bernabe working with him, or with Clem Coward with him, Major General Clem Coward. So was, these were the same people as his high NCO position would absolutely overlap with in that area, the Fort Hood and Fort Bliss area. And so this was a real conflict of interest for him to be assigned, I guess, by the Veronica Escobar office, or he just is the one that chose to deal with our family, but it was a conflict of interest when, for our uh, congressional hearing requests. And in uh, I believe, August, August of 2023. See, what happened is they, the CID had totally failed under Vanessa Guillen, okay? And were caught because they found her body. And that was shortly before they took Richard's life. Her body was found by animals, believe it or not, by animals and by line workers that saw the animals. So when that happened, it just caused a lot of chaos, a lot of chaos. And and I think that was one of the reasons why they did what they did to Richard's body. Okay. Um, and they cashed in on it. We believe that they cashed in on it illegally. So, when that happened and they failed, and there was a lot of changes in the CID, not good changes at all. I don't feel like they were good changes at all, but they were pressured to have to look like they were doing something. And so, there were just a lot of changes, and they uh, were like Soto, CID Soto, and CID Tavita Nusa, who's a suspect in hurting our son. Um, they were doing damage control and trying to put with Major General or Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe to put Richard's case in cold case, to cover it up by putting it in cold case and not having to answer questions or anything. Um, but we worked so hard, and we had just breaking news all the time. And not only did we have that breaking news all the time, we took the time out to formulate what we were seeing and document it and then file it. So we filed everything, all of the leads. They told us to hand in the leads. We did. And we did it officially through the official channels that they asked. We we have attitude? Oh my gosh, we had to rein in the attitude because let me tell you, every letter I wanted to blast them. Rob wanted to blast them, right? You know, you just want to just blast them because they were just so corrupt and compromised. And we knew that. But the system is bigger than they are. Okay. The system is what you're working with. And so we filed it to the system. And that what that did is cause a record of the history of Richard's case, an official record of the history of Richard's case. And it totally, totally uh, dis- just dismantles their record, okay, what their record that they were trying to do, because they were tampering with records. They were creating propaganda. They were creating a false history. And uh, and so what we did was challenge that with the truth, with all the things that we were finding. The beauty of this whole thing is that they are required by law to respond to this. Okay. So they are required, if they don't respond or how they respond, can all be scrutinized as time goes on. And so this record of criminality and cover up has been documented one day at a time, every day for 2,059 days so far. Okay, they are in, that's why our lawsuits are epic, because their failures, their crime, their cover up, their complicity to the trafficking, to the worst type of crimes against children, to the uh, money laundering, to the weapons trafficking, to the, you know, uh, the tampering of evidence, the intimidation of whistleblowers, the false statements, everything. All of that has been documented and put into official records. That is, just like, when has that been done? With the FBI, with the CIA, with the DEA, with the DHS, with the DPS, with the county clerks, with the DA's office, with the AUSA's office, with all of these agencies that, and of course the CID, and now with Veronica Escobar's office, because we have so much history with that. And now with Benito, uh, Sergeant Major, retired Benito Torres, getting caught red handed. Okay. There is, look, with the documents that they have that he signed claiming to be a lawyer. He's not a lawyer. That's impersonating a lawyer. That's a felony. Okay. And then being caught bringing in contraband to a detention center. Um, that is also a felony. So that is documented. He impersonated a lawyer 11 times. Okay. So this is, and he said that he was there for Veronica Escobar's office. Okay. He said that. Now, is he going to roll it back? Is there other information that they have already? Did they catch phone texts or any kind of other documents to prove that? Um, I think that they would do that before they released any kind of allegation against Benito Torres. Why? Because Veronica Escobar is the one that attacked President Trump with the false allegation, tampering with the election, not addressing the Walmart mass shooting, the Mayella family, um, the uh, the whole thing with defendant Patrick Crusius being autistic, his father being a disciple of John of God, who, that sounds so like, oh, holy or whatever. No, that was a cover for the devil. He's the devil. He's the John the devil. Okay, John the devil down in Brazil doing the worst type of crimes against children um, and women and everything that Oprah was promoting, right? That was part of this trafficking pipeline that extended up through El Paso to Zorro Ranch and adjacent to Beto O'Rourke's family ranch next to Santa Fe, where Oprah loved has a house. She has a house there, and of course, uh, Pritzert and the Obamas love Santa Fe, and other things going on in Santa Fe. Like money laundering through art and things like this. So, yeah, this is, so people see through Veronica Escobar. They see that she has been so neglectful, that she is not trustworthy. She's very devious. She's such a bad person, y'all. I just can't even tell you how bad she is. She is really of the devil. And I don't say things like that lightly, but this is what they have done with the child trafficking and, you know, this whole border protecting of this Mormon faction, philanthropists, is just the crimes only people possessed of the devil could do. Really, that's my opinion. And we've documented these crimes throughout this and everything that they've done to us. It's kind of like, in the Bible it says, turn the other cheek. Well, in order to get justice, we didn't want to react. Um, uh, don't be too hasty, right? Don't be too hasty. You have to really um, let justice grind and document everything. And then something like this happens, and it's like, wow, it's a gift. It's a total gift that Benito Torres is now facing felony, felony charges. And do I believe that they have it connected to Veronica Escobar? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Because I can tell you, with the comment that President Trump made today with the death of, and gosh, it's so late at night, and I should put this up because it was just amazing comment. Let me see if I can find it. Uh, because that nasty guy died, right? And okay, here it is. Oh, that's Obama's Obama's comment. What a difference. What a difference between two. Okay, here it is. Donald J. Trump says Robert Mueller just died. Good. I'm glad he's dead. He can no longer hurt innocent people. Exclamation mark. President Donald J. Trump. That is amazing. And I know that, well, let's just say, I suspect strongly, very strongly, that that is exactly how he feels about Veronica Escobar. So, um, because she refused to even meet him for, recognizing the victims of the Walmart case. She's like, she didn't even attend, do her job right now in the State of the Union. She couldn't even sit through. There's so much hatred between the two of them, and really on the part of Veronica Escobar, because through these 5 years, look, we've been documenting both sides. We documented Abbott's crimes, right? Um, Senator Cruz's crimes, which are so egregious, both of them, so egregious. What about Gonzalez, Tony Gonzalez? We documented his crimes, right? Um, so if we look, if they had anything on President Trump, they would be like absolutely moving legally to unseat him, right? They've tried to do it so many times, but they just don't have anything. There's nothing there. There is nothing there. And believe you, we have looked and there's nothing there. Oh, so he had Jeffrey Epstein at his clubs. So he, they have these party. There's nothing, there is nothing there for them to now, you might not like it, I might not like it, whatever, but I'm talking about legally, with all of the IRS, he has been audited. Uh, Gosh, in 2015, he had been audited 10 times. Can you imagine? They debanked him. They were going through everything with a fine tooth comb, and they've got nothing. They've ended with nothing. Nothing, right? Even the charges that they in that whole scam with the judge and everything, arresting him, all of that. It, People know that it was a scam, that there was nothing there, right? The uh, Mar-Lago is worth 18 million. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I mean, the house that Benito Torres is way over 600,000, right? Uh, you know, I mean, he's a sergeant major. Come on. And other properties and stuff like that. There's unexplained wealth there. There's unexplained wealth. If there was unexplained wealth with President Trump, they would be all over it. Okay. But and so would we. So would we. But there's nothing there where I'm wearing the hat. Not because of the man, because of the office of the presidency. And how did President Trump win this time? Because of Make America Great Again. People want to make America great again, make it have order, to be uh, uh, to be efficient when it comes to our Justice Department and our intelligence and our military, and that have good intentions and not this trafficking, right? That's what we want. We want our country back. And so that's, we need to honor the office, how he got elected, and why he got elected. And so um, that's what we're doing. And this whole Benito Torres being active duty military, which when all this happened and going back and looking at our documents, our emails, our contacts with Veronica Escobar, he is the representative staff member that blocked our congressional requests for congressional hearings. Okay. Not only that, but it gets really, when I tell you the history of it, you're going to be like, what? What? Okay. It's just so evil. The whole thing is so evil. And it involves the CID agent that was assigned to us in the spring of 2023. So in 2023, this was before Richard was declared deceased by the Board of Inquiry of the United States Army, right? So that happened on April 24th, 2024. So we're talking about a whole year before when they were trying to get Richard into cold case. Matter of fact, Jessica Veltri, and I'll put up her picture because I think it's really important. So Jessica Veltri was the senior special agent from Quantico, from the cold case, violent crimes, homicide, missing persons unit, okay, for the Army that was assigned to our case. Because of course we we had um, Judge Roger Rodriguez's uh, official whistleblower complaint. We were in the know of that now, that that was in there and listed Tavita Noosa's name, okay, as a suspect in hurting Richard. Who is Tavita Noosa? Tavita Noosa is the family of Richard's first platoon leader Dallas Hart, their family, with Leilani Hart, convicted criminal, family, but also the CID over Richard's case. So the very suspect in hurting Richard is investigating Richard's case. And so this was the big problem. Okay. This was the big problem. And of course, Soto was too. And Soto was covering for Tavita Nusa or complicit in what happened to Richard. Okay. And he was the special agent in charge of the CID office there at Fort Bliss. So when in January of 2022, um, Judge Roger Rodriguez filed with many agencies, uh, including Senator Ted Cruz and um, Governor Abbott's office, I believe so, and um, Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe, the commander of Fort Bliss, uh, this information, that is, really created a stir. Well, it just messed with their plans. It messed with their plans, and so they had to shift. They still wanted to cover up, but they assigned Jessica Veltri, okay, and told us, fed us so much BS. She is the greatest. She is the greatest homicide investigator. She just solved this amazing investigation, you know, and now, you see that she was, promoted through this movie even, right? The hunter, the homicide hunter. She's the homicide hunter, and that she is going to make you happy, right? All this stuff. So we set up a phone call with her, and there she is, right? There she is. And, it just this whole situation reminds me of Erika Kirk now, right? Like, these are trained propagandists. Who's her daddy? Who's her daddy, or who's her the sister wife? Do they have a sister wife in this? Because I believe Erica Kirk has sister wives. I don't know if she does, but I believe that that's a big possibility. And so this whole thing, looking back, it just gives the same exact vibes. The language that Jessica, Veltri uses, the people around her, it's just like the same thing that you hear from Erica Kirk, right? It's weird. And they both have this, connection with the intelligence world. And of course, with Jessica Veltri being the senior special agent in the CID special unit right there in Quantico. So just it's just really weird. And I can tell you right now that Jessica Veltri is, up to no good. Okay. I don't even think she knows what the hell she's doing. Okay. It's not like, I don't think she didn't give me the impression, and I'm telling you this because I think it's very relevant. She didn't seem to have a high IQ. Okay. I'm just I think that's important because it's relevant, because they promote her like she is some kind of super homicide hunter. And when you're actually dealing with her and speaking with her, you're like, what grade did you pass? She did not seem like she had a high IQ at all. And and then the proof is in the pudding, right? The proof is in the pudding. So, yeah. And, I don't like to, I just think that that's very relevant because she was assigned and promoted to us like she was something else. And we've just been dealing with Marlon Soto for years, and he definitely, um yeah, definitely, was, yeah, very, mm, I have a hard time because I was taught if you don't have anything nice to say about people, don't say anything. But these people are absolute demons. And I've had to, just say it like it is for, on all these live streams. And because what they're doing is they're covering up for the worst type of crimes against children, and they film it and they sell it, and they are flesh peddlers, and they eat human flesh. They eat human they so things have to really elevate to super bad for me to say, these people are monsters. They're demons. And I would put Jessica Veltri and Marlon Soto, and of course, um, uh, Tavita Nusa in that category. Okay, absolutely. So, back to this with, Jessica. So Jessica was supposed to be the homicide hunter, but she never. I have some notes here because there's just so much that happened in 2023. So you have to remember, uh, we were asking for a congressional. We had enough evidence for a congressional. And here comes Veltri, and she's like supposed to be, the next thing since sliced bread. And she never even visited the crime scene. She never came to El Paso. She never went on to Fort Bliss to, or we didn't get the report. We didn't even get a report. Okay. We didn't even get a report. There was no looking at the crime scene. Okay. There, she never interviewed Judge Roger Rodriguez, to my knowledge. To my knowledge, she never interviewed the official whistleblower in our son's case. Never. She's supposed to be a homicide. She didn't even want to know what he had to say. A matter of fact, they admitted in a phone call that Judge Roger Rodriguez's whistleblower complaint had been scrubbed out of the CID file of Richard. So we had to say, wait a minute, there is a official whistleblower complaint in his capacity as judge about naming the suspects in the foul play and the tampering of the files in our son's case. And that better be in the CID file, and we're putting it on record. So, that that they were trying to scrub um, his official complaint and then not even interviewing him. Okay. That doesn't sound like she's a homicide hunter. That seems like she is on the phone with the philanthropists of the El Paso Mormon cartel going, oh, yes, yes, okay, yes, I won't interview Judge Roger Rodriguez. No, no, no. No, I won't look at the crime scene. No, we can't look at the crime scene of uh, the arms room because it's not renovated yet. It's not renovated yet, and they have the sticker on the door. Um, you know, so yeah, she's on the phone. She's getting orders. That's what it seems like to us because either that or she's lower than Patrick Crucius. And I don't want to demean Patrick Crucius is in jail for 90 consecutive life sentences. Okay. Um, so she also denied our gold star rights. Okay. Our next of kin rights. She absolutely, because we're supposed to get documents, right? We're supposed to, no, she wanted to force us to go through all of the FOIAs. The FOIA, when, here we are, the next of kin, we should have access to our son's file. And she denied that. Um, uh, she also, um, there's so much okay, so during this time, in the summer, so she comes in the spring. In the summer, a Fort Bliss whistleblower witness, in his official capacity, puts in a report, a file to Representative Veronica Escobar's office. Okay? Puts that in there. Uh, Requesting a congressional for his own safety, right? On the information he knows in the murder of our son. You have to remember, this is in 2023. This is before the Board of Inquiry designated Richard deceased. This was huge, absolutely huge. The next thing we know is this witness is being intimidated. This witness is being threatened with an Article 15, right? Full Article 15. And that Veltri is witness to this and allows it to happen. allows the witness to be retaliated against right in front of her own uh, eyes, knowledge, whatever, right? She's allowing it if it's on the phone, if it's she allowed it. And it was so bad, y'all. And so of course Benito um Torres denied the congressional, okay? Denied the congressional. This is how criminal these people are. You have a whistleblower, Judge Roger Rodriguez, and another one, Fort Bliss witness, and I want to protect this person's name, um, that they absolutely retaliated against, and Veltri witnessed the witness get retaliated and allowed it to happen. That's so criminal. Okay. So, and then Benito Torres of Veronica Escobar's office denies a congressional. That is how serious this is. And we are not just saying this, okay? I'm not just telling you the story. We have documented it and we have filed all of it. All of this is on record, y'all. All of this is on record. That's how we found Benito Torres's name and knew his involvement in all of this. And now look, because of Veltri's compromised criminal uh, reaction to all of this and not doing her duty, which is also a crime, um, Benito Torres was emboldened to impersonate a lawyer 11 times, endangering detention guards and workers by entering into a detention center with contraband, in this case, contra the band, cell phones, and giving out cell phones to the inmates in the detention center. These detention centers, detention center on Fort Bliss, him using his military retirement ID, it seems like it, to get access to the detention center. And when you give these individuals phones, they can organize. They can organize against the workers, against the guards, against the Fort Bliss community, against El Paso community. They can call and we have government officials telling us that a big portion of those in there are Chinese nationals. Okay. So, wowzer, wowzer, China is not really friendly to the United States. This is not like an ally of the United States. So, giving them a way to communicate is very, very severe. Very severe. So, so here he is doing that. He was able to do that. And who knows what all happened and who got hurt in this time period, right? And thank God that they caught it. And why did that happen? Because when President Trump came in, and I hope you can remember this, but look it up. He turned the spigot off of the U.S. aid. The U.S. aid, millions and millions of dollars, was going to taxpayer money, was going to fund NGOs, non government organizations. And they would have all kinds of names and they would have all kinds of purposes, but those not NGOs would have lawyers, and the politicians would use these lawyers to, I think, to do their dirty work. Okay, to do their dirty work, and maybe it wasn't all dirty. Okay, maybe it wasn't all dirty. Maybe but you just it doesn't seem like they're doing any good. It seems like they're covering up for the worst type of crimes against children and all that entails with the money laundering and all of that. So, I have to say it. But what is what happened is that when President Trump turned off that spigot, that taxpayer money to go to pay these lawyers, that was dried up. And in this case, Veronica Escobar, it seems so. It seems so. Allegedly seems so. I have to say that, right? I have to say that. It seems so that they got frustrated and desperate and decided just to fake it, send in Benito Torres. And, there could be a quid pro quo there. There could be, he's living large. There could be some security there since Representative Veronica Escobar's husband, Michael Pleaders, is an immigration judge. So, like, let's see how this plays out. Is Michael Pleaders going to be assigned to the Benito Torres case? you know, I mean, really, is he supposed to clear him? This is how they operate. We see this all the time, how they operate. And but don't be discouraged because everything they breathe, everything they eat, everything they drink, everything is from God. And God is a God of justice. Okay? And everything in creation works for justice. And so they don't have a chance. And I hope I explained that well because creation cries out all the time for justice. And their very bodies, they're very, they're haunted. They are haunted. That's why they're possessed because their body is crying out for justice. And they are like possessed with a very dark, dark creature. And yeah, so, I'm very confident and with this that justice is coming, right? Well, that's what I believe. Justice is coming. And it's all in God's time, right? It's all in God's time. So when that all happened and we had the record to not only prove that this is the same guy, but that the same guy never disclosed to us that he was prior military, much less a retired sergeant major. And then to know that the CID homicide hunter allowed this to happen on her watch. On her watch. Like she didn't know that Benito uh, Torres was, military and had a conflict of interest with Richard's chain of command, with those being in the Beto O'Rourke camp and in the Veronica Escobar camp, being in direct contact or vicinity of those that hurt Richard. Okay? Because we know, like, Danae Katzen, big part of Beto's campaign. So is is Benito with Danae Katzen, with Jonathan Ambrose, with Leilani Hart, with Delirious Montanez? I mean, Leilani was working on Delirious's campaign. I don't know if I've said that yet, but that's That was breaking news, but so we have so much other breaking news. But yes, Leilani Hart was working on Dolores Montanez's campaign. And of course, she switched over to, try to be Republican, but, whatever. Um, they all know each other. And that is a huge conflict of interest to too big to miss for a homicide hunter with tools at her disposal by the benevolence of the taxpayer, and then she's covering up for those that want to rob us blind, that are supposed to be branded philanthropists, right? And that's why I put out there, did you know that the media even tried to rebrand uh, Jeffrey Epstein a philanthropist? It's a cover. It's a cover for the worst criminals with the worst schemes for the worst type of crimes against children and against society because of all the money laundering. This is like, taking advantage of gambling, taking advantage of LLCs, of property, of bonds, of bonds for this and a bond for that. I mean, the theft of fuel. There's so much that they do that's so rotten and that hurts all of us. This is about our son and the egregious violent crime and cover up of the Fort Bliss whistleblower soldier hero. Absolutely. And what he was trying to do as a whistleblower is protect the people, the children and the people. And he told me, Mom, it is so bad. What they're doing is so bad. He couldn't even express it um, to us in a way that he was expressing it to the CID and to the White House and to the IG and to the police and to the 911 and to the Child Protective Services. Uh, y- you know, uh, it's it was so bad. It was so bad. And it was also the bases ties, the military tie, the cartel infiltrators in our military that were involved and connected with the Walmart mass shooting. And that's really important for everyone to know because that was really what they did not know how to cover up. They didn't know how to cover up. It was so badly done with the Mayellas and everything, with Patrick Crucius and his father in Allen, Texas, and the whole thing. It's just, and then Ernest Christopher Grant. They try to push him as like this media sweetheart, like they're doing Jessica Veltri. Jessica Veltri is in the same with Erika Kirk and Ernest Christopher Grant. You know, the worst of the worst. So they manufacture their identities. They're not real. They're not real. And it's so obvious once you start looking into them. So let me answer any questions now. Thank you for unpacking this nightly, praying for your family, our country, and the world. Absolutely. Thank you so much. And I'm on a little bit earlier. It's 1 o'clock now, but it's been so late. You are a mama bear. Thank you so much, Laura, for translating this into Spanish. I will say it every night. Thank you, because we're so appreciative. Thank you, Linda, for coming on. Um, and thank you, Georgina. Thank you. Yes. So we are we're just very appreciative for everyone sharing. It's super important because we are a government of the people, by the people, for the people. And when you look at the likes of what we have in Congress and what President Trump is dealing with, um, y- every day he depends on us. He depends on us to get the discussion out there, get the truth out there. There's so many people that have experiences that can fight off all of these bots and the lies. They just need to speak up. So thank you for sharing, and thank you for your prayers. And we will be back tomorrow, God willing. Thank you, and share.